And here we are. Okay, so this is Luis Maya, and you are watching the Behavioral Economics of Global Affairs. We are just about to finish our 6th week. We are almost halfway in our course, okay? Next week will be the 7th week, and then we are kind of in the middle of our class, all right? Okay, so the topic today is extremely interesting. I know I tell you this all the time. Yeah, but then again, I love this thing, so it's inevitable. The topic today is the first discussion of organizational behavior. And we're going to talk about a very strange model of organizational behavior. All right? So, organizational behavior. So far, we have focused on individual behavior, how one person reacts to changes, how one person makes decisions. Now we're starting to broaden up our view, and we're going to start that with organizational behavior with a very, very interesting theory. It's a model, okay? É um modelo, pessoal. But you guys are going to see how this thing can be applied, how this thing is very likely to be part of your everyday lives. Okay, so just to show you that we later on we are going to talk about unethical decision making in organizations, comportamento antiético, decisões, tomada de decisões antiéticas nas organizações. And later on, we'll also talk about the real value of sustainable business. So we're going to talk about what is a green company, what is a green organization, how can that actually be more lucrative, more profitable than what we have today. Okay? So far, so good? All right, so check this out. This is about a paper that was written in 1972. Oh, come on, Luis, this is too old. Yeah, you know what? 1972 is the year that I was born. So this is like 48 years ago. These three guys, Cohen, March, and Olson, these guys published one very, very strange theory, and they called it a garbage can model of organizational choice. Wait. Garbage can? Lata de lixo? Modelo lata de lixo de escolhas organizacionais? Yes, that's right. Garbage can model of organizational choice. Oh, wait. Please. You're talking about very bad organizations, very poorly managed organization. Is that right? No. What we're saying here is not that something that is useless. We are not talking about useless organizations or pretty low performance organizations necessarily. We're going to talk about some organizations which survive in our lives, in our days, and we have to pay attention to them, okay? So you may still wonder, why is that we are checking this thing out? Why do we have to understand such crazy organization? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You're gonna like this, okay? Okay, so here is the first provocative statement. Some organizations are, first, collections of choices looking for problems. Wait, it's like people are looking for problems? Yeah. It's not like looking for solutions. People are looking for problems. Second, issues and feelings looking for decision situations in which they might be aired, they might be discussed. You see, imagine you come to work and instead of talking about business, your boss keeps telling you about lots of things that he is concerned, how he dislikes the amount of rain in Recife, how he's worried about Bolsonaro. He needs to talk. And you were there, you worked for him, and you have to stand there and and listen. Oh, come on, Luis. This is not the usual work life. Wait, take it easy. Third condition, solutions. Looking for issues to which they might be an answer. You see, sometimes you have solutions before we understand to which problems they may be attached. It's like you have a solution and you want to use it, but you haven't identified a problem. This sounds crazy, right? Wait, you're gonna see, there's some more. You have decision makers looking for work. Oh, come on. Most of the times, work is kind of dropped upon decision makers. They wake up in the morning and they have to solve so many problems. Now, not in this case. In this case, you have people and they have to look for some way to be useful. What a strange organization we are talking about here. Well, wait and see. You guys will see those organizations more often than you can imagine, okay? All right, so rather than a completely chaotic system, what Cohen, March, and Olson, the authors of this theory, what they actually wanted to express is like a very specific sort of dynamics. So they came to very specific points to describe this sort of organization. The first one, suppose as a hypothesis, como uma hipótese fundamental, suppose that people have undefined and unstable preferences. As pessoas têm preferências, posturas que são indefinidas e instáveis. Wait, but most of our economic models, most of even the business models, they all they all assume that people have stable preferences. And mostly they actually assume that they are known preferences. You know them beforehand. Here, no. Preferences are not consistent, not among individuals. So as a professor, Luis Maia works in a way, and as some other people like Ana Paula or Guerino, they teach in a very different way. They have different views of the world. So in the same organizations, people behave differently. Not only that, people behave differently over time. So if you take my class, a class with Luis Maia, now, oh yeah, there's a way he works, he gives us his class notes, and he presents stuff from the internet. And okay, so in 10 years from now, Luis Maia behaves in a completely different way. So not only people are different in the same organization and they have completely different preferences, but also the same person changes over time. It may sound extreme, but it turns out that this is quite actually very common, you know? That's what most of the times it happens in all sorts of organizations, okay? All right. Here, what we say is that this organization learn about preferences on a day-by-day basis. You see how people act, and then you discover their preferences from their actions, okay? It's not easy to read out people in organizations. Sometimes they behave different than what they actually think, and so it's a kind of a mystery. The first one. The second one is uncertain technology. Each person in the organization has his own or her own idea about how to do things. Once again, you can compare a class from Luiz Maia, a class from Professora Cristiane, and a class from Professora Gisleia. And they kind of use computers, all of them use PowerPoints, but then again, the technology is kind of different. In Luiz Maia's cases, you have like the class notes ahead, you have very easy tests. It's not the same thing with Professor Guerino, I think, but then again, so you see that each person in this organization takes his own way of doing things. All right. The third element of this garbage can organization is varying participation. Sometimes people show up, sometimes people are not there. And then you may say, oh, come on, Luis, this does not sound like a business. It doesn't sound like a regular company. If you keep not showing up for your job, you're going to lose your job, right? But wait, maybe this third assumption is not that extreme. If you remember that sometimes people are there, but they are not there. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes I think Bruna is here, but maybe I can only see her name on my screen. Maybe she's actually taking some ice cream in her in her house's kitchen. She's not actually here. Maybe Bruno is not here. His name is showing up here in the list, but maybe he's actually gone to the bathroom. Maybe Misael is not here. Maybe he's looking at the WhatsApp group and he's answering a friend from his childhood, somebody that he has never spoken for years, Hey, yeah, I'm talking to Emerson here. Yeah, he's a very good friend. And he's not actually paying attention to this class. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes it doesn't take you to be, I'm here, teacher. Thanks, Misael. I'm just kidding. But you guys understood what I'm saying, right? Presence, the physical presence is one thing. The other thing is your attention. So you may be on your job, may be inside the company, but you're not there. You may be thinking about your mother, your brother, or some girlfriend. You may be thinking about other stuff. So varying participation is not such an extreme assumption if you understand that people sometimes they are physically present, but their minds are far, far away from the job. Okay? So sometimes people are engaged, estão lá engajados no trabalho, prestando total atenção. And some other times they are just checking their Instagram post. Oh yeah, this was a huge, yeah, it was funny, something like that. Okay, so 3 characteristics of garbage can models: undefined and unstable preferences, uncertain technology. Each person in the company has his own ways of doing things. And the third, varying participation. Sometimes people are there, sometimes they are not there. Sometimes people are there and paying attention and they are engaged in performing some tasks. Some other times they may be even there performing some tasks, but their minds are far, far away. So it sounds like a mess, right? You guys can understand how these people end up choosing the name garbage can, right? Lata de lixo. But notice, This was one of the huge problems with this theory. These guys, they didn't want to say that a garbage can organization is trash. Eles não estão chamando de lixo uma organização como essa. What they're actually saying is that in a garbage can, you never know what you're gonna get. If you are walking down the street, you see a garbage can, and if you open the lid up and you look inside, there may be an animal there. You may find plastic materials, you may find paper, sometimes you may find some organic material there, you may find all sorts of stuff. You may find electronic devices, broken electronic devices there. You can find light bulbs, cans, beverage cans. You never know. So in a garbage can organization, every day when you get there, it's a surprise. You don't know what's gonna happen. In this sense that these guys used garbage can model, okay? They are not saying that this organization is trash. Now, please pay a lot of attention to what I'm just about to say. This is the most important message. These guys, they are not concerned, their attention is not towards companies that behave like that all the time. They don't care about a company that behaves like this all the time. What they are trying to say is this: any company, at least some part of the time, behaves exactly like this. You see the difference? They're not worried about a company that works like this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is not what they are interested in. What they are saying is this: those assumptions, they end up being true at least part of the time in any organization. In any organization, you can see these things happening at least sometimes. Okay? Please make your thumbs up for me if you understood this difference. This is a big deal. Let me see here. Who is paying attention? Bruno Soares, Misael, Leticia. Thank you, guys. Who else? Jaime, are you there? Andrea? Agatha? There we go. I just want to make sure everybody's paying attention to me, okay? So notice this one last time. These guys are not worried about companies that behave like this all the time. That's not what they are concerned with. Their attention is towards the fact that any company, Apple, Magazine Luiza, Petrobras, Vale do Rio Doce, o armazém aqui da esquina, o supermercado do lado da minha casa, all of them, at least part of the time, behaves exactly like this, okay? Preferences seems to be changing. The way we do stuff may change. The technology we use may be changing, and we are not sure if we keep with the old technology, the old way of doing things, or if we change to some new ways. And people are there, people are not there, people are there and they are paying attention, people are there but they are not paying attention. So those are not such an extreme organization that we wouldn't care. We're talking about things that happen in any company, okay? All right, so let's see some more about these things. Where do we find those creatures? Well, the first place you should notice here, universities. Remember, I gave you the example, how Professora Gisleia teaches her classes, how Eliane teaches her classes, how Luiz Maia teaches his classes. They are different. We change as time goes, our techniques, our options, sometimes even the classes, the disciplines that we choose, they change. So public universities in general are good examples of this. Actually, public agencies in general, not only schools and universities, but if you look at IBGE, Fiocruz, and what else? Good companies like, let's see, Governo do Estado, Secretaria da Fazenda, Secretaria de Saúde do município de Jaboatão. Public agencies in general, they will tend to work like this, at least for a large part of the time, and informal organizations in general. So when you have like clube, uma associação, pronto, grupo de pelada. Grupo de pelada, você tem lá, tem dias que a gente aparece para jogar futebol, tem dias que a gente não se encontra, tem dia que a gente vai lá, tem 25 pessoas querendo jogar, tem outro dia que a gente vai e não tem 7. Tem dia que a gente quer jogar com camisa versus sem camisa, tem outro dia que a gente fala, não, vai ter que ter todo mundo de uniforme. Okay, so we see those three conditions going over in informal organizations too, all right? Okay, if you want to find some other organizations, I will give you some tips, some hints, okay? First one, check if decisions are made without consistent and shared goals. So people, sometimes they make decisions one way, sometimes they make decisions in completely different way, all right? There's no consistent line of decisions. It changes a lot. The second point, which I actually highlighted there for you, consequentialism goes down and appropriateness goes up. So let's stop, take a step back, and have a look at this thing here. Consequentialism means when you're making choices, you study what are the consequences of each option, and then you pick the one that is best for you, right? Oh, I see. This is like the rational behavior. Yes, this is one of the fundaments. So one of the basic assumptions of rational behavior, purely rational behavior, right? Okay. The second one, appropriateness, is when you do stuff because you think that other people will admire you for doing that way, right? So if you are talking to a kid in public and you are too stressed out, too aggressive, people will, wait, what are you doing? You're screaming at this kid. What's happening? This is not appropriate. All right, so appropriateness is like when you do stuff, not because that's the best option for you, but you think that you should. You think that you must. Either because you will feel bad if you don't, or because some people will look down to you and look down at you and say, hey, you can't do this. So you're trying to do stuff because you're supposed to. You're expected to do in a specific way, all right? So in a garbage can model, you still have some consequentialism, but you had a lot more appropriateness. People make choices understanding that that's the way they're supposed to behave, all right? Not what is actually best for them. Okay. And the third way to find other garbage can organizations is to notice when or how often members become active, participating or just reacting to decisions. If people change the level of engagement, some days they are there, they want to participate, they want to speak up about their feelings, and they want to, I don't know, contribute to the choices that will end up being made. And some other people, some other times, they just don't care. They vanish. All right. So these three hints help us to find uh, garbage can organizations, or at least garbage can situations, you know? Sometimes it's more like a situation. Oh, there's one very good example for this. A garbage can organization. Reunião de condomínio. Let me see here. You guys are too young, but then again, please raise your hand or make thumbs up there if you have ever participated in a reunião de condomínio. Let me see there. How many of you have had this astonishing experience? No, no one of you. Well, you guys are happy. You guys are. I mean, this is fortunate. Reuniões de condomínio are a big mess. Sometimes people don't show up. Some other times they show up and they want to complain about decisions that were made when they were not there. Oh, I don't accept this. Why you don't accept? Ah, you were not here. We made the decision. No, now I want to go back. So we see that a lot in reuniões de condomínio. This is a classic example of garbage can organizations. It doesn't mean that it will not work. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get good decisions made. Sometimes it takes a long time before an important decision is made. But sometimes, you know, things seem to work. You have agreement, you have consensus, and then things end up going well. You never know. It's like a garbage can. You open up the lid and you look at that and you say, what is in here today? Sometimes it's just banana peelings, I don't know, rest of food. And some other times you may find an iPod, a video game inside a garbage can. You never know what to expect, all right? It's unpredictable in a way. All right, so these kind of companies, they may be successful, but success varies a lot. So sometimes they are great. They do just great, things are working. And some other times, nothing seems to work, okay? So how we can expect success to change? Well, success depends on the timing over which choices are revealed. Sometimes you get the right people at the right table when a problem arises. And these people say, yeah, I see, no, we can do that, yeah, sure, yeah, let's do. And they face the problem immediately and they take it out, all right? Sometimes it happens. Sometimes when the problem arises and when the opportunity for a choice is there, we don't have the right people. We don't have people in a good day. Sometimes you may have like this. You may not be in a good day. You came to class. Luis was talking about this very interesting theory, but you were not in a good mood. Your mind was not there, so you don't actually learn. All right. The second element, the patterns of energy available over time. So how engaged, how dedicated people are, and how enthusiastic they are about making some choices, finding solutions to some problems. And finally, and the most important message here, we're going to emphasize that later on, the structure, how organized a company or an organization is. By the way, let me open up this parenthesis here and make a comment about army. You guys know that to fight a war, you have to be a very, very organized organization, very well organized army, right? In an army, if the captain tells the soldier, you have to do such and such, the soldier won't argue back, ever. He has to do immediately. Oh yeah, he asked me to shoot. Yeah, I'm shooting. That's it. Sometimes you don't even have time to think. You just have to react, to obey what was your command, right? So in an army, in order to fight a war and to win a war, the structure is extremely, extremely rigid. Very, very much. People will behave exactly as they are told. They are trained to do the stuff hundreds of thousands of times. So they will do exactly what they are told to do. So this is a very structured organization, okay? It's an example of very structured organization. All right, so let's try to be more precise here about what are these things, okay? What are the problems of organization? Well, the usual problems is like how to operate machines, how much inputs to buy, como operar as máquinas, como comprar os insumos, how many people to hire. So you have all these decisions and operations you have to make. But sometimes you have to deal with problems that are from people. People come and say, I will be late today. Oh yeah, why is that? There's no bus. I don't have a bus. There's a union strike here. Tá tendo uma greve de ônibus. Não tem como chegar, eu vou chegar mais tarde. That's it. Oh yeah, what can we do? How we can adapt? How can we adjust to that? Sometimes people come there and say, I'm sorry, I'm trying to participate here in the meeting, but a friend of mine has died. I'm not in the mood. I just can't think about the work today. I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave. And then he leaves. Family issues. If someone is sick, if you are worried about your career, if you are involved in some sort of political party, and you are concerned about Bolsonaro, about Lula, about some politics, sometimes you may be concerned about the war in Israel and Palestine. Yeah, it may be lots and lots of stuff, but those are problems that people bring in the organization. They may have been brought up by members or by local communities, the press, the government, the police. All sorts of problems show up in the organization. And sometimes these are not the typical problems. You have to face them. You have to somehow find a solution for them. Okay? All right. So you can see that at the same time that these assumptions about the garbage can model seem to be a little extreme, you remember we were talking about a strange organization. At the same time, please notice that we are talking about humanity. We are talking about the real life. This is real life. This is what actually happens in companies. If you look at a book, livro de administração, you're going to see some equations, you're going to see some concepts, and many times when you leave the book out and you go to your job, it seems like completely different stuff. Now, in this theory, you guys, what you are seeing here is real life, even though it's a model, but it's inspired, deeply inspired in real life, okay? All right, so the second point here, solutions. What are solutions? Well, maybe products or services or somehow a new way to do stuff, but somehow that will be a solution, will solve a problem and will be attached to it Sometimes it will be a definite solution, sometimes just a temporary one. Okay? It is important to remember that the creation of a need, this is not something that only happens in consumer markets, right? Sometimes people, companies, they create products and they come and tell you, you need this. And you say, well, I don't need that. Let me give you an example, all right? My wife, she just brought this machine to make bread. Minha mulher comprou essa máquina para fazer pão. And she said, well, this machine is great. I always needed that. And I said, no, you don't need that. You can buy bread, I mean, anytime you want. You have padarias all over the places. Why you need a machine to make bread? No, I always needed that. So somehow this company convinced my wife that she needed something. That was the solution for some problem that she had. And I don't know, maybe she had never thought about it before she saw the commercial. Then again. So these things also happen in companies. Sometimes people have a solution and say, look, we want to do that. And people say, do we really? I mean, we really want that. We really need this thing. It may be expensive, but then some other people say, no, this is a great solution. This will be the end of our problems. We have to do such and such and such. So sometimes solutions are defended as if they had a huge problem to solve, and many people struggle to see if there is any problem at all. All right? Okay, the last one, participants. Well, they come and go. We talked about that. Sometimes they show up in a choice arena in the moment of a decision, and sometimes they bring in some attributes, some informations, and they actually participate. But sometimes, in order to participate in one choice arena, they have to leave some other choice opportunity. Você não pode estar em duas reuniões ao mesmo tempo. Às vezes você sai de uma, fala, aqui já a coisa está bem encaminhada, eu vou para outra. All right, so people's attention, that is a budget. It's not only an asset. A atenção das pessoas não é apenas um ativo. É quase como se fosse um orçamento. Como melhor usar a atenção, o foco das pessoas? Well, that's a hard question to answer. But then you may be asking yourself at this point, all right, Luis, this is all quite interesting. Yeah, I see your point, but why, why, why exactly we are studying this stuff? How is this related to behavior economics? How is this related to myself, to my education as an economist? So check this out. Public policies, políticas públicas, they depend on governmental budgets. Eles dependem de orçamentos governamentais. How do budget commissions work? Como é que as comissões de orçamento funcionam? Exactly like garbage can models. If you check any discussion about budgets, you're going to see that. You're going to see people changing their opinions. You're going to see people changing over time. You're going to see different levels of engagement. In some meetings, people seem to be more live, more dedicated. Some other times, people just don't care, whatever are the choices. So garbage can behavior, or garbage can-like behavior is very, very common when people are talking about budgets, orçamentos, okay? The second one, public policies are executed by public agencies, foundations, non-governmental organizations, NGOs. In Brazil, we call it ONGs, né? Organizações não governamentais. NGOs, it's the English version of that expression, non-governmental organizations. How do they work? Well, they work just like garbage can organizations, right? People are not so much hierarchical, a hierarquia não é tão forte, tão estruturada, and then making decisions involves negotiation, involves talking and understanding and convincing people, so we build consensus. Okay? And the third one, successful policies rely on cooperation, involving individuals and organizations. We are going to go back here about cooperation, okay? By the end of this class, we are going to go back to this discussion, cooperation. But then again, just to give you guys a hint of how these things end, they actually made simulations. They created a system representing all these aspects of the model, and they ran some simulations, mathematical simulations, to see if a company is such and such, how would the choices be made? If a company behaves like this, or it has these people, how will end up the choices being made and such, ok? Então, eles estavam tentando variar as condições do sistema expresso naquelas equações e aí ver quais os padrões que emergiam com maior frequência. So, choice opportunities are basically the arena when you have decision being made, and you have streams. The expression is streams, you guys understand that? Streams é como correntes, okay? So you have like people, problems, solutions, as if they were streams being driven into the garbage can, ok? Então você tem fluxos de problemas, de soluções, de pessoas e de oportunidades de tomada de decisão. Às vezes eles se encontram, às vezes tem mais problema do que solução, às vezes tem problema, solução e não, as pessoas não estão lá. Então são relativamente independentes, ok? All right, so as they create these simulations, I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining to you that, but then again, what they found out. And those are very interesting consequences or results that they learned with these simulations. First one, problem-solving orientation only becomes the predominant pattern when access to the decision table is restricted, specialized access. Let me explain that to you in Portuguese. A orientação para a solução de problemas só se transforma no padrão predominante quando o acesso à mesa de decisões é restrito. Wait. Luis, you're saying that you support a dictator. You don't like democracy. Democracy doesn't work. No, I'm not saying all of that. I'm just saying that in a very democratic decision making, it is very common that people spend a lot of time before solving problems. Check Brazil out, right? If you look at Congresso Nacional, these guys, they are not actually solving any problem. They discuss and they create new laws and they steal money. They do lots of stuff, and very little times they are actually solving actual problems. All right? Very few times, sorry. Okay, the second pattern that they observe. Periods over which identified problems remain without a solution, and the time it takes for a decision already made to become effective, they are never both short. So let's understand this again. You can spend a lot of time arguing, discussing, analyzing a problem, before making a solution. If you do that, if you discuss a lot, if you participate, you study from all different angles, when you take the action, when you make a decision, it is quickly effective. But sometimes you may make decision very fast and then it takes a long time to start working, or sometimes even never start working. So it's like Brazil and Germany. No Brasil, a gente planeja uma ponte em 3 meses, a constrói em 1 mês e ela dura 2 anos. Na Alemanha, eles demoram 2 anos discutindo a ponte, gastam mais 2 anos para construir e ela dura 70 anos. All right, so you have to choose. If you actually study solutions, if you observe from different angles, if you, I don't know, analyze it deeply, it takes a long time. But when the decision is made, and when the choice is made, it becomes effective pretty quickly, right? So you have to choose. Either you spend a lot of time studying the problem, or you may have just a temporary solution. This is quite an interesting result too, right? The third one, more serious problems are likely to be solved. If you have an emergency, people will pay attention. Some people say that in their companies, in their organizations, they're firefighters. As pessoas são apagadoras de incêndio. They spend the whole day trying to solve emergencies, and they don't sit back and plan what they were supposed to do to avoid emergencies. And they keep going. Em vez de você parar, estudar e planejar como evitar os incêndios, você passa o dia inteiro, durante anos, tentando apagar incêndios. I like this sentence, this phrase. It says like this: some people waste years because they can't waste hours. Às vezes as pessoas perdem anos porque elas não podem perder algumas horas. If you stop and think and plan ahead and try to make consequential choices, sometimes those will pay off for a long time, right? Okay, so garbage can organizations are those in which people are all the time trying to fight fires, apagar incêndios. The fourth one, choices widely considered relevant are predominantly escapist ones. They end up solving no problem. Choices of lower status tend to succeed. Então, aquelas questões, problemas considerados relevantes pela maior parte das pessoas, geralmente a gente empurra com a barriga, a gente encontra soluções para postergá-las. E as questões de status relativamente menor, as pessoas não se envolvem tanto, não brigam tanto, não fazem tanta questão, e muitas vezes a solução é achada rapidamente. Now, all of these patterns, they kind of suggest an idea that is present in economics. Many economic models try to solve or to at least assume away politics by assuming that you have a benevolent dictator. So suppose that you have a dictator and his objective, his goal is to make people happy. Then you would say, yeah, this is a good dictator or something like that. But then the point is that a benevolent dictator in a frame like this, he would get most of the things done. Now, this is kind of an interesting consequence too, right? In this model, you would say something like this. A country like China would be successful in fighting the pandemic faster than the United States. And that happens. In a dictatorship, you actually get to solutions faster. In a democracy, it's hard, right? You have to argue, you have opposition, You have to convince people. People are free to do as they are told or not. It's tougher, right? All right. So the main message of all of this, all right? I'm just reminding you here that we have a purpose for this discussion. What is this? The purpose is that organization structure is very, very important if you want to understand how people behave in organizations. Why is that so? First, it forces certain patterns of problems, emergency, and participation. It pushes some problems to the table, and people have to face them, and they have to make choices at certain specific times. It fixes the acceptable amount of energy to be applied by members. So it will tell you, if you are here, if you are working here, you have to pay attention. And I'm going to ask you by the end of the day what I told you in the first hour of the day. If you cannot tell me, you are out. Okay? If you're not paying attention, you're not supposed to be here. So this is structure. This is a very structured organization. The third one, it facilitates or prevents relations between streams. So you create kind of a concertation, uma concertação, uma articulação de problemas, pessoas, soluções e momentos de decisão. Okay, so what is this structure? How people have access to the decision tables, how the decision is structured. So if it's going to be like the boss tells all what is going to happen, or if he listens to people, or if he trusts specialists to bring solutions, and then he put those proposals as a discussion. So the decision structure matters a lot. And finally, the amount of energy, which can be understood just as much knowledge or professionalism of the members of this organization. So if you have knowledgeable people and very much professionals, so you tend to have a more successful organization. If you're dealing with people that are amateurs, they are not serious about the job, they don't take their responsibilities seriously, then you're going to have a hard time. All right? Well, we knew all of that. No, you didn't. I mean, come on. You didn't expect a class like this on a Friday night, did you? We still have like 20 minutes to go. I want to play a game. How do you say? What do you guys think? Let's play a game? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna share you guys in groups. So you're gonna start playing with this game, okay? It's not gonna be time enough, but I will give you like 15 minutes, and you guys will let me put this thing here in the chat. Okay, so check this out. I think I'm gonna share the screen again, and I'm gonna show you. Just to finish this class, I wanted to show you this. This is a game. It talks about cooperation, the evolution of trust. You can have it in Portuguese. There's some options there. Okay. So the question is this. In 1914, on the Western Front, despite strict orders not to calm down, British and German soldiers left their trenches, crossed the no man's land, and gathered to bury their dead, exchange gifts, and play games. Em 1914, os soldados britânicos e alemães, no meio de uma guerra, mas na véspera de Natal, eles resolveram, da cabeça deles, desobedecer os generais, falar assim, não, hoje não vai ter guerra. Aí eles saíram das suas trincheiras, conversaram uns com os outros e falaram, vamos dar uma pausa aqui. Cada um pode enterrar seus mortos, vamos fazer um jogo de futebol, enfim. So, what can lead people to cooperate in a war? How can people cooperate in a war? So this is about cooperation and basically about game theory. What you guys are going to have here, I think I will not split you in breakout rooms. We are not going to have time. So let me just play a little bit here with you, and later on, you guys can practice and see how this will end up, okay? So here's like this. You have two guys, one in each side, and you were going to be this guy here, the one with the red hat, okay? So this guy may cheat or cooperate. In other words, if you have a choice to participate in this game, each person puts in a coin, cada pessoa coloca uma moedinha. If both cooperate, both gathers more coins. If one cooperate and the other one cheats, se uma pessoa coopera e a outra trapaceia, obviamente quem trapaceou vai levar tudo, quem coopera se lasca. Okay, so let's start with this. So the person cooperates. This guy here, you cooperated, but the other guy cheated. So you lose a coin, he gets 3 coins. If you cooperate and both cooperate, each one of us will get 2 coins out. So there's a payoff. Tem prêmio para a cooperação. Se os dois cooperam, os dois ganham 2 moedas, tendo colocado uma. But if you cheat and the other guy cooperates, you get 3 coins and the guy loses his coin, okay? So it's like a game theory. It's a teoria dos jogos que vocês estão acostumados a ver. What ends up happening here, let's play some game. First, you cheated and the guy cooperated. Second, both cheated. See? So you can play this game and you simulate how things work. And let's see, now I'm cooperating. Let me cooperate again. Let's see if I change his mind. Yeah, you see? So I started cooperating and he changes. Now, at each round, a cada rodada, você vai ver novo oponente. You're going to get a new opponent. And then you're going to have to choose if you're going to cheat, se você vai trapacear, or if you're going to cooperate. All right. After you do that for some times, and you're going to learn lots of stuff. By the way, this game is free online, and there's like a routine, there's a schedule. Que eu quero dizer é que tem roteiro, tá? Gostaria que vocês participassem desse jogo. Ele tem roteiro para você ir aprendendo. And by the end of this huge journey here, you're going to learn throughout simulations. Vocês vão aprender através de simulações. But what is that you guys are going to learn? Well, you're going to learn how cooperation is maintained. Como é que uma cooperação se torna duradoura? So let me stop sharing here and go back to our slides here. What I'm trying to say is this. By the way, BTW means by the way, a propósito. What sustains cooperation in an organization? First, it has to be a win-win situation. I mean, you have to have gains from cooperation to both sides. Second, you have to be very careful with communication. An easy way to break out of cooperation is by miscommunicating, misunderstandings, misinterpretations. Those will be very harmful for cooperation. And finally, and the one that is kind of not intuitive at all, frequent interactions. If you cooperate with someone and you don't see that person very often and you don't, talk to them very often, as time goes, you're going to start being skeptical or maybe suspicious that you are being cheated, and somehow cooperation goes off. All right, so this is the 3 messages that you guys will have if you participate in that game. All right? Has everyone got the link to play this game? Let me hear from you. Please raise your thumbs up if you got the link. It's here in our chat, okay, guys? But it's also in our class notes. Marcelo, thank you. Bruna, thank you. Misael, Jamili. All right. My score was 28. Okay, Andrea, you're just starting. Later on, you're going to be able to play like tournaments in which you just press one button and you simulate a whole tournament. Então, na medida que as etapas daquele jogo avançam, você pode identificar diferentes oponentes, apertar um botãozinho e simular um torneio inteiro, com 30, 40 partidas. E aí, as time goes, you're going to try and understand what are the profiles of your opponents. Você vai entender os perfis dos seus concorrentes. And you're going to see how some of them may try to get ahead of you, and some other will try to cooperate. And it's quite interesting simulations, okay? Trust me, if you play with this game for a while, you're going to have a good time and you're going to have the feeling that you understand a little bit more about cooperation, right? Okay, guys, so this is it. This is how we discuss behaviors inside organizations. I know that this is a very interesting but also extreme model, and 2 main messages here. First, garbage can organizations, they are not organizations that work like this all the time. The whole idea of this study is to say, at least part of the time, any organization operates exactly like that, okay? So we have to pay attention to these dynamics. And the second thing is, the solution is structure. But it's not like a dictatorship always. You have to combine very timely chosen moments to take decisions, and you have to choose very wisely who should participate in decisions. I think this is the good message that such a study brings to us, okay? All right, so questions, complaints, comments? Everybody's fine? Everybody cool? Thanks, Andrea, for putting the message there. Bruna, Tomás, Misael. Okay, guys, so this is it for today. Please enjoy your game, the game that I just suggest here, and don't forget to listen up to James March, the interview that I suggested also. This is, I mean, if I were you, I wish I were you, I was at your age, but if I were, as you guys are, just about to finish my economics course, just about to be an economist, I would listen to this interview 3 or 4 times. This is how important it is. The stuff that this guy is saying is like something that I wish I knew when I was so young as you guys are. Okay? All right, then. That's it